expanding Herod's temple. They call it Herod's temple because Herod was the guy who was paying for it and rebuilding it and expanding it. He looked at that beautiful edifice and everyone was just, ooh and ah, how glorious it is. And he said, you see all this? He said, there will not one stone be left upon another. It's all going to be torn down. But notice, he said, because, Luke 19:44, you can read it later, because Israel did not know the time of their visitation. It's important for you to know what season it is, because if you're in a season of giving, then you need to be looking for opportunities to give. If you're in a season of receiving, you need to be looking for opportunities to receive. If you don't know what season you're in, you'll go off half-cocked and doing the wrong thing at the wrong time, and then you don't get the blessing God wanted you to have. And a season can be a whole lot of little things. It could be big things. Paul being in prison over and over again were seasons. I went through a season once where every time I stopped to get gas, clean my windshield. I'm big on having a clean windshield. Neat freak, I guess. I even polished my own shoes and everything. Woo! Some of you young people, that's a whole novel idea. But I'd clean my windshield and then I'd look around and find someone else to clean their windshield. And so if they said, well, young man, what are you doing? I still think of myself as young. I'm 65. But I'm still young. Don't worry. What are you doing? I said, praise the Lord. And I just cleaned their windshield for them. I said, is this okay? You want me to continue? Get the other side? Oh, yeah. You just go ahead. Knock yourself out. That'll be just fine, right? That was just a little season. You can have seasons of any number of different things. You can have seasons of romance, seasons of buying, seasons of selling, seasons of exaltation, seasons of abasement. Paul said, I know how to be humbled and I know how to be exalted. I know how to abound. I know how to suffer plenty. And we need to embrace our seasons. Let me say that again for those who didn't get it. You need to learn to embrace your season because it comes upon you for a reason. There's a reason for the season. And just like there's a pattern in the spring and the fall and the winter and all these things that God has lined up, He has seasons foreordained for you. And you're supposed to be blessed in that season, even if it's a season that seems negative or broken, or a season when you feel like you're failing in life. We've all heard of, what do you call that when a guy trades in his wife who's 40 for two 20s? Midlife crisis. We've all heard of midlife crisis. Well, what's that all about? It's a person who refused to embrace the season they were in. I'm 65 and I'm tickled to still be here, brother. I've gone to some of my high school reunions. 10 years ago, when I went to a high school reunion, a third of all the seniors in my class were dead. And when they get up, they begin the meeting by reading the names of the dead. You go, whoa, I'm glad I'm still here. Then I went to one the other day. Over half of them are already dead. I was raised in a city where they had a coffin factory. You know, they make coffins to bury people in. And every time we drive by, that was the local joke in town. You'd drive by the coffin factory and you'd say, you know what? I heard they were making your coffin in there this afternoon. And people get pretty upset. They're not making my coffin. I'm going to live forever, you know. Okay, sure you are. That'll work, maybe. Maybe not. We got to know what season you're in. What time is it? What season are you in? Jesus frequently stood over at the city of Jerusalem and said, O Jerusalem, Jerusalem, thou that kills the prophets and stones those who are sent unto you. He says, you see now He said, how often I would have gathered you as a hen gathers her chicks. But you see now there's going to be desolation because they didn't know what season they were in. Know your season, embrace your season, allow God to touch you through that season. And there are seasons that you can actually impose upon yourself. When you go to university or seminary, you have imposed upon yourself a season of intense study. That's what it's there for. Now, when I was in high school, I thought that high school was a season of drinking beer. My dad was a Baptist pastor, but God bless all that they were doing, but I was going in the other direction, you see. And so I went off to the University of Texas and sowed a lot of extremely wild oats. I got expelled from the fraternity I was in when the fraternity throws you out and all they do is drink beer and act crazy. And when they throw you out for drinking beer and acting crazy, you can figure you have overdone what you're supposed to be doing. But God had a hook in my jaw. You know, you can hook a fish and it, and the line could be slack. The fish is moving around. But he had a hook in my jaw and one day he decided to reel it in. I spent 6 months. I'd come in on Friday or Saturday night and I'd get down on my knees and cry and I'd say, God, you've got to deliver me from all